And welcome, everyone. I'm Bill Newell, joined by Phil Stacy, Matt Williams, Nick Kukuru, and Nick Giannino. Welcome back, Nick G. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Gentlemen, let's begin. By the way, if all goes as planned, maybe we could have a little sledding outing Saturday afternoon. What do you guys think? A little snow, we get together, find a hill.
I'm not opposed.
Okay.
Get the toboggan out.
Yeah, exactly. If one of you guys has a toboggan, hopefully a big one so we can distance ourselves from one another. Need a super big toboggan, I think, for us, but whatever.
Easy now. It's not.
All right, let's go to speaking of winter sports. Matt Williams, you have some breaking news for us to report.
Oh, sure. We've got so we've been waiting for the Northeastern Hockey League coaches to be announced. Gloucester was first. They hired Caitlin Bernick to be their varsity coach, as they come back to varsity status for the first time in 15 or 17 years, something like that, since they've fielded a varsity team. So they were the first domino to fall. And now Marblehead has hired Brittany Smith, the young coach who will be running their show. She was one of the great players that played there from Manchester. So a lot going on up in Nick Kukuru's neck of the woods here. We got Gloucester and Manchester teaming up for the new coaches. But Britt had 107 points in her career for Marblehead, skating with the co-op team from Manchester, and went on to be captain of the women's hockey team at Sacred Heart, and is done with school and going to come back and give back and hopefully bring some stability to Marblehead. It has been, I think, 5 coaches now in 5 years for the Lady Headers. So, I think certainly they're hoping with Britt being as young as she is that she's going to be here for the long haul. And the final domino to fall will be Newburyport, which is yet to name a coach, despite the fact that we're a week past when the practices were supposed to start. So Newburyport is now up on deck and up on the docket, I guess. One thing for our podcasting viewers to note, it has been brought to my attention that Ryan Wood, the ex-Marblehead coach, his name is listed on the Newburyport website, I guess. But it has been brought to my attention that, in fact, this has not been changed since he was coach of Masco 5 years ago and would have technically at that point been coach of Newburyport. So that is a trap, I guess. So don't read too much into that, I've been told.
Is that right? When you mentioned 5 coaches in 5 years at Marblehead, is that since Emily Hudak was there?
Yeah, so Emily Hudak was, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Chris Wells, the wonderful boys hockey coach, he coached them for 1 year.
That's right.
Before he took the boys job. Now, I'm sure he would still be there, and he's a great coach, but, the boys job happened to open up, bad timing. So Chris was the 1 year, and then one of the Macario sisters, I think it was Marissa, and Mia was on her staff. So the 2 Macarios there ran the team for a year. That's 3. Woody ran it last year. That's 4, and Britt will be 5. So, like I said, I think Emily Hudak was a coach for about 12 years. So I guess, after a long slate of stability like that, they were due for maybe some turnover. But I don't think anybody wants to have 5 coaches in 5 years, right? That's, some I don't want to cast aspersions, but that's like some New York Jets type stuff. That's definitely not how you draw it up.
Wow. Right.
I noticed, speaking of coaches in the news, Gavin Softick has stepped down as baseball coach at Salem High School. No surprise, knowing that he's now a principal in the school system at the Bates Elementary School. So, and Gavin did a great job with the Salem High baseball program, and so he'll be sorely missed. Clearly, no season last year with or this current year rather, in the spring of this year, But anyways, he has stepped down, so that job has been posted for a new baseball coach in Salem. Any other coaches in the news, guys? I don't think so, right?
No, not that I can think so. We haven't had any other coaching changes lately or things like that. I can kind of keep up with the hockey theme if you're looking to do that, maybe for a little bit of news. We've been getting some schedules trickling in, as schools try to set their winter schedules in hopes that we can get off on time with these games and the shortened winter season, 7 weeks or whatever it's going to be. And it looks like the Northeastern Conference boys hockey is going to kick off on January 9th. And I know we talked about this before as far as some schools, Beverly, Danvers, Marblehead, Swampscott, not having their own rinks per se to play at this year with Endicott and Salem State respectively closed. Looks like Danvers has picked up some home games at Larson Rink in Winthrop. They're going to open up against Beverly on January 9th. I know Swampscott is going to be playing some home games at Kasabuski and Saugus. I believe Swampscott opens up with Masconomet, which is the new team in the Cape Ann League this year. They're coming off of back-to-back Cape Ann League titles, and they've been the #1 seed in the Division II North playoffs the last couple of years. It's interesting. We still haven't heard anything from the conference as far as a potential postseason tournament within the league. And I've had several coaches ask me, geez, do you think, this would be a good thing? I said, yeah, I think it would be great if you could pull it off, but it doesn't seem as though that's been talked about yet within the conference.
I'm going to guess that because I'm looking at the girls' schedules here, and it looks like Masco's going to host several of these teams twice, so they're just going to play a lot of games at Haverhill Forum.
Yep.
But their games go all the way up until February 20th.
Right. So they have a longer regular season, I think.
Yeah, Fall 2 is supposed to start February 22, so they haven't left any time here for a postseason tournament, which is
no. I know. They go
somewhat
right
unfortunate. Yeah, well, I mean, I wish they could, but it looks like they have. I was going to say maybe they're going to wait and see how the numbers are, but they haven't left any open dates there at the end of the year.
No, and I know that they're playing a 13-14 game season for Northeastern Conference hockey, as opposed to, say, like St. John's Prep, which is playing a 10-game Catholic Conference schedule, and then they have some playoffs after that. So I guess it's just the way that you want to approach it there. In fact, St. John's opens that same day, January 9th, at St. John's of Shrewsbury. I think Hamilton Wenham, if it's not their opener that day, they might actually open against Rockport the previous Wednesday, but I know they're also playing that day. But the rest of the conference games on January 9th, at least as far as the boys go, I said Swampscott taking on Masco. That'll be over at Kasabuski. Gloucester, I believe, is hosting Peabody that night at Talbot. And Marblehead will play at Saugus. So that might be like a Masco Swampscott / Marblehead Saugus doubleheader at the Cas. Interestingly enough, too, guys, is that Bishop Fenwick is the one school I know that is actually going to be starting playing, regular season games prior to January 1st. Everybody else is waiting until, the 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in there. But Fenwick is kicking off. They have a hockey game the day after Christmas. Fenwick boys are playing at St. Mary's, and I believe the next day they're playing at Bishop Feehan. And the Fenwick girls start pretty soon after that, Willie, if I'm not mistaken. And the two Fenwick hoop teams start on Monday the 28th. So Fenwick, not waiting until the new year. They want to get going right away. They will be having playoffs as they had in the fall. So that's some news from within the last week as far as scheduling goes.
Yeah, it looks like the 9th is the magic day for hockey, boys and girls. And for basketball, it looks like it's going to be the 8th, Friday the 8th. Beverly's got their hoop schedule posted here. Danvers, tentatively, boys and girls on the 8th. So, that looks like the magic day, the 8th and the 9th, that Friday and Saturday.
Right. I had mentioned Fenwick. I think they open up with Bishop Stang, the boys on the road and the girls at home for basketball on the 28th. And just to clarify, I think I said that girls hockey was starting before the new year. For Fenwick, it's actually, as I look at it here, they're on the road January 2nd at Bishop Stang, and then return home the next morning. Those 9 a.m. specials that you love, Willie. They got a 9 a.m. game over at the McNann O'Keefe and Peabody against Archbishop William.
We'll have to see if my cop friends still get their details that day. I mean, if there's no fans, do we really need to pay those poor guys? Maybe that's been defunded.
Well, it's funny, I've heard from quite a few people. I would say I think I've gotten like 5 emails this week from different people asking, what about fans? You know, are fans going to be allowed? And there's rumors that I had heard there were going to be 2 parents per home player for NEC hockey games. And now I've had 2 different people tell me, well, the conference got together and voted no fans and whatnot. So I don't know, but something we got to find out if there are going to be fans allowed or not. You know, I think the plan is schools want to live stream these games, or maybe depend on us tweeting them out or whatnot to get the information to fans. They don't want as many fans in these buildings as can be. And as I said to one person I was talking with, I think a lot of times the rinks might be the ones saying, you know what, no, we'll have players and coaches, you know, trainer, maybe a reporter or 2, but we don't want a lot of extra people in there. Maybe it's, you know, for legal reasons or whatnot, but the rinks themselves, or maybe it's a pool or gymnastics place or whatnot, but they might be the ones dictating like whether fans can come in or not. Nick, have you heard anything about Talbot? Like, are they going to be letting fans up there?
They have been for the youth stuff, but no, nothing official with high school. I know they've been practicing there all fall, and they've had youth stuff all fall. What parents have been able to go to, but I haven't heard anything as far as, you know, coming up the next month.
And Nino, how about hoop? Have you heard anything about, will people be allowed at the hoop games?
I don't think so. From the coaches I've spoken to, it doesn't seem like it, but it could be different depending on, you know, each school. Some schools might have their own regulations, but for the most part, I'm thinking no fans.
And we have to remember, you know, if you watch the news, it seems as though things are trending in the wrong direction at this point. So
Yeah.
the main thing is getting these games off, and hopefully starting on time and getting them played. And if it means no fans, you know, I mean, that might be a sacrifice that people are going to have to make until we get through the worst of it.
Well,
Yeah.
we've got some news in the track world here too. We've got track meets. The MSTCA is going to put on cups at Wheaton College here in January. So
Oh, wow.
the MSTCA says fall too, schmall too. We're running, baby. So good for them. You know, I don't know how many of our local teams will choose to participate or not participate, but you know, because I'm sure that, you know, these guys and girls will be training, right? They're not just going to not run. So, you know, we'll see if they choose to use it as like an informal kind of training thing, or how popular these things end up being if anybody locally decides to participate or not.
And
You
Bill,
know, go
ahead.
Well, I was just going to follow up on what Kooks was saying about the fans. So I'm thinking what I'm hearing here is if the rinks are allowing fans in for these youth games, the rinks may not be the roadblock for the high school games. It might be the schools themselves. And I could, you know, so I'm wondering how that plays out. Of course, we don't know. So.
Yeah, it could be a different situation too. Youth, I mean, the youth kids need the parents there more than, you know, the high school kids.
Yeah.
To take care of themselves and get themselves out of the building, where, you know, those youth players kind of need the parents to kind of hurry the process along a bit.
All right, that
Very
makes
true.
sense too. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I asked the question. I got a great answer there. Yeah.
Just sticking with hockey for one more thing. Koopman twins, the brothers, Matt and Kyle, opened up with Providence College last night against Boston College. They got another game this afternoon to open their season. And, you know, they had their season, you know, they were supposed to start last weekend in Lowell, and that got pushed off. You know, the alma mater of Nick Giannino here, they had to pause things because of some coronavirus concerns. So Providence got off the schneid last night, got a chance to play, and we certainly hope that Matt and Kyle, who I'm sure many of our listeners remember starring at Marblehead High School, have a great season for the Friars. They were both great to talk to, as always, when I spoke with them last week. And, you know, their head coach, Nate Lehman, who, you know, Willie and I were there 5 years ago when he led Providence to the NCAA title at the Fleet Center. You know, they upset BU, in the NCAA title game. With Brian Pino, St. John's Prep on that team. He was a freshman, right, Willie, in that game? I want to say Pins?
Could have been. Yeah, I mean, he was on the team. I don't remember what year it was.
Yeah, I think Pins was a freshman. In any case, you know, we're hoping that both these guys have great years. The juniors with Matt up front and Kyle on defense. So good luck to the Friars and the Koopman brothers this season.
And to add to that, it looks like Providence is getting another local kid, right? Isn't the Adams kid from Masco there transferring there?
From Boxford, yeah.
From Boxford, right.
That's right. Yeah, coming off of that injury, going where his brother played and all. It's a nice story, and his family certainly has great ties to Providence College. So look at you with the hockey knowledge, huh?
I'm on top of things.
Yeah. Well, let's not go crazy.
I think it's because that family's a big golf family, right? I think Nick has done the charity golf tournament a couple of times, so he's patched in with those guys.
Yeah, that is true. I did do the golf tournament. They hold that at Turner Hill every year.
Oh, the Rue Adams tournament. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick G, speaking of golf, Nick Macario, formerly of the Prep, has been named the Amateur Mass Golfer of the Year. So I know you did a story on Nick. Maybe share a little update on that.
Sure. So this is an award that's already decided at the end of the season because it's based on a point system. And Nick Macario accumulated the most points on the Mass Golf Amateur circuit this summer. He had 4 runner-up finishes, which was obviously a lot of points there. He had a victory at the Hornblower Memorial, which jolted him up the standings a little bit. And he had a number of other top 10 performances as well. And he ended up finishing in first by quite a significant margin. I think it was about close to 300 points over Brockton's Matt Parziel, who, if you guys remember, competed in the Masters a few years back. And then number 3 on the list this year was Chris Franco from, also a former St. John's Prep kid, now at URI. So really good company at the top of the leaderboard there, but first time for Nick Macario winning the award. And he had finished second 2 years ago. But he's 28, 29 now, I think 29 years old. And he said his golf game is still improving, which is cool to see. He's down in Florida right now playing in a couple big tournaments, and then the Mass Golf season will kick off once again before we know it here. So he was the most consistent golfer out there on the amateur circuit this year, and well-deserved honor for him. First player from Bradford Country Club to win the award too. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, great season for Nick, great season for Chris. We had a couple other guys on the leaderboard there as well. Really good golf was played this summer. It was fun to be out there and cover it.
I know MSO News Sports and the Salem News both have done stories this week on Justin Rennicks of the Revs and of Hamilton. So it's all Revs fever weekend here. They're advancing in the playoffs here. So we have something to look forward to this weekend, Nick G. And then I know you talked to Justin.
I did. I spoke with Justin just the other day. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Great kid, 21-year-old, pretty young kid for the team. He played for the Revolution 2 team for most of the year and had a lot of success there. I think he had a team leading 4 goals. The Revolution 2 team is basically just like their reserve team, but still really competitive soccer. They have a league that they compete in. And he had a great season there. In 8 games, he had 4 goals, 7 shots on net, I think, and started pretty much every game. So they brought him back up to the big leagues, the Revolution team, and now they're making a nice run in the playoffs. They were the number 8 seed, so the bottom seed, and they're now in the Eastern Conference semifinals. They're going to be taking on Columbus on Sunday, which you can tune into on ABC. That's at 3:00. Justin has appeared in 2 playoff games out of the 3, so you might see him get in there. He was on the field at the end of one of the games when one of his teammates scored the game winner to send him to the next round. So pretty cool stuff for Justin. Awesome stuff for the Revs in general. I mean, they've had some great teams over the years, and this year was one of those years where they had their struggles in the regular season but snuck into the playoffs, and now they're making a Cinderella run. They already took out the top seed, and they'll be facing a number 3 seed Columbus on Sunday. So props to Justin. I think it'd be great if he can get another opportunity to get in there. And they're 2 wins away from a cup. That'd be awesome.
Ship's a lock.
Ship's a lock. He actually did, on my interview, he guaranteed a win. He said, we're going to win. So
nice.
Book it.
I talked to him a few months ago, and I think he's a big fisherman, if I'm not mistaken, too. I don't know how that came up, right?
Yeah, right? He is. I talked about that with him, I think, last time in April or May when we spoke. Yeah. But Yeah, he does a lot of local fishing, freshwater stuff, bass and that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So, well, good luck to them. The Crafts may not have a Super Bowl title this year, but maybe they'll get a cup with the Revs. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
Cam's been saving his arm. They're gonna win out from here.
I don't know, man. I was pretty high on him at the beginning of the year, but he has looked bad.
What about that little kid who used to be in the commercial that would do his arm like this?
Oh yeah.
Get him.
You know what? Matt Crowley, Cam Newton. Fact.
I'll tell you what, Stidham must be god awful if they're not giving him a chance yet, because I mean, what did Newton have, like a 23 quarterback rating last game? 80 yards passing.
I want Edelman to get back into the lineup so we can put him under center.
Yeah.
We don't need him at wideout.
If Cam just runs it every time, we'd be all right. But every time he goes to throw, it's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Matt Crowley, I think the one game Brian St. Pierre started for Carolina off the street, he had a better than 23 rating. He threw a touchdown pass or two. I mean, he could throw the ball better than we've seen lately. That's for sure.
He had like an 82-yard touchdown pass in that game. He threw a bomb in the fourth quarter that was good.
We'll see. Maybe Cam's saving his best for the stretch.
Let's hope so.
What do they got?
I thought he did better. I thought he's doing better. He's gonna. You're right, Phil. They're gonna pull this thing out eventually here, right? They have to.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic though. That's the thing. Hey, can I mention too that the Friends of Marblehead Hockey just inducted 4 new people into their Hall of Fame. For those that don't know, Friends of Marblehead Hockey, nonprofit, have been around for 25 years. Do all kinds of great things for the headers and lady headers programs in town, as well as youth hockey, which has always thrived in Marblehead. And they have inducted Tori Snow, who I know Willie knows, the great lady headers, all-time leading scorer up until recently, Willie, right? When Sydney Cresta passed her, I want to say.
I think that's only very recently. Yeah, 100.
Yeah, within like the last year or two.
150.
Tori was a fantastic player. 2 former line mates. You have Kyle Rennie and the late Ryan Fader, both 100-point guys for Marblehead that got in. And, of course, the legendary and very humble Mark Tarmy. Fantastic coach, had a lot of success in hockey before he got to Marblehead, but working as an assistant for both Tommy Colby and then the program's glory years under Bobby Jackson. He was an invaluable assistant coach working with the defensemen, and went on to serve as AD. He's now assistant athletic director under Greg Siglowski. 4 excellent choices there. So congratulations to those guys, and a big thanks from those of us in the hockey community to the Friends of Marblehead Hockey and what they're able to do.
Do they have a regular Hall of Fame at Marblehead? I feel like I've never covered one. Is that something that?
I don't believe so. You mean a Trem Roberts type Hall of Fame? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I mean, it's cool that the hockey people. Hey, if you guys don't have one, we'll come up with our own. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, do they have a football? Do they have a football? Something with football?
There's like a Gridiron Hall of Fame, I think.
There's a Gridiron Club for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have the old timer night.
Like the Jerry 5 Club there, right? But I don't think the school itself has I could be wrong, but I don't think the school itself has an athletic Hall of Fame, which would be rare these days. I mean, most schools around do have them. So, yeah, that's interesting. But that's for the Friends of Marblehead Hockey Hall of Fame, and I think those are 4 excellent choices.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, anything else you guys want to touch on here? Phil, do you have anything else you want to? I'm trying to think if there was something else
Yeah, I wanted to mention that Mike Shailen, who is a friend of ours, at least Willie and I certainly knew him. Kooks, did you know Shales at all?
No.
So Mike Shailen passed away on Friday after a long battle with cancer. And, Mike was a legendary baseball reporter and scorer. He was the official scorer at the Red Sox games for a long time. Mike worked for a number of publications. He was a New York guy who made his home in this area, lived in Peabody for a long time, raised his 3 boys in Peabody, Josh, Taylor, and Willie. Who am I forgetting? Josh and Taylor, and was it Shay? No?
Mac.
Matt, thank you. Max Shailen. And, the boys all played Peabody High hockey. Josh was a Salem News Player of the Year for us at Peabody High in the mid-2000s. Willie and I would see Mike a lot of times at Bruins games. If he wasn't sitting right next to us up on press row, he was right near us. And, Shales was a good guy, very opinionated, not afraid to buck trends or go against the grain. And he's a real passionate guy, loved baseball, wrote several books about baseball, wrote a book with Oil Can Boyd, among other people. Really, really good guy, good down-to-earth guy. Worked for a lot of years for the Valley Junior Warriors hockey program, and he passed away. So we want to send our condolences to his family, especially his 3 boys. And, the world has lost a good man. So rest in peace, Mike.
Yeah, I got to work with Mike. When I was covering Boston College basketball and so on, he was a beat reporter for the Boston Herald. So we would travel a lot together. And he was, you might remember, some of you may not remember this, but he was a co-host of a WRKO sports talk show at night, 6 to 8. And he was very good at what he did. And he could have been, to this day, I still don't know why he wasn't one of those sports talk voices in Boston that you would still be hearing on the air today, to be quite honest with you. He was good. He was solid. He knew his stuff, like you said. I remember one story. We were in Newark with the BC basketball team one night, and it must have been like 0, and the wind was like 50 miles per hour, and the planes weren't flying. So he was a New York guy. He knew it. Right. And so we ended up, he had to get back for, I think maybe we both did. But anyways, the flights were grounded. So we rented a car and we drove back from Newark back to the North Shore here. But he knew his way. He knew all about New York and well-versed in New York. So he was always fun to be with down at the Big East tournament because, like I said, he knew the city and knew the players down there. So having grown up down there. So you're right. Had a very good guy. Yeah.
I used to like when the Rangers would play the Bruins, and Mike, was a big Rangers fan.
Yeah.
Big Rangers fan. And he didn't hide the fact that he was a Rangers fan, even though, there's the whole no cheering in the press box thing. So Mike, it was enjoyable when he would get like visibly upset when there'd be a bad pass or a goal scored against Henrik Lundqvist or something like that. And, one quick thing about Mike, when Nick Caffato, the great baseball writer from the Globe, passed away a little over a year ago, there was a photo that floated around of probably from 30 years ago down at Red Sox spring training. And it was like, the dream team of reporters. And it had, Nick Caffato and Dan Shaughnessy and Steve Buckley and, what's his name? Sean McAdam. And there was a 5th guy that everyone was like, who is that? Who's that other guy? Who's that? And it was Mike Shailen. And people forget, I think, that he was a big wig when it came to covering baseball in this town. As you said, made his chops. I don't know if it was Newsday he started out at, I want to say.
That sounds possible. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
He loved the Yankees and the Mets, and he covered them, and then he made his way, up here to Boston to cover the Red Sox. So Mike was really a legend in the business, and I felt very bad that he'd been sick for a long time. And, we didn't see him. I didn't see him, Willie, last year at any of the games. Did you? I don't think he was around last year dealing with his sickness. So, as we said, our thoughts and prayers go out to Mike and his family, and we hope that he is in a better place.
All right, gentlemen, on that note, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.